Hello, everyone. I am Regina Sun, and welcome to today's Legal Moment. I'm an attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia, and today's topic is on the Facebook law in Missouri. Missouri recently passed a statute where they are saying that by January 1st, 2012, every school district must develop a written policy regarding teacher-student communication and employee-student communications. What has really garnered a lot of criticism is the section which provides that teachers can't establish a work-related website and teachers cannot have a non-work-related website that allows exclusive access with a current or former teacher. So one of the reasons why I call the Facebook laws, because it's essentially saying you can't have these online communications with students on these social media sites like Facebook or like Twitter that are private. Now, even email communications are subject to this statute because email communications are usually private and they're one-on-one, they're direct with another person. So they're saying unless you're using the company provided system, you cannot have these direct communication with students. So JR, I have you here with me today. What do you think about this statute? Do you think that Missouri should prohibit teachers from using social media sites like Facebook from communicating with students?
Well, it depends. I mean, I'm leaning more towards I think they should, only under certain conditions. I think that if they're saying that they're prohibited from communicating using their own personal, social site, then they should provide them with, iPads or something, or cell phones. I know there's some schools that supply their teachers with cell phones where they can communicate with the teachers. You have to give them something in return, if you're going to prohibit this type of law, because social media is just as big as using the telephone nowadays.
Telephone is an option, but it is an expensive option because you not only are paying for the phone itself, but you're paying for the plan and all that comes with it. But, kids these days, they love the text, they love the social media, they love just anything that doesn't involve a voice-to-voice interaction. And so a lot of critics of this statute are saying, look, Facebook is a popular medium for students. And if teachers can use that to better teach their students, why are we prohibiting it? What do you think of those critics?
I mean, honestly, they're absolutely right. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying if they're going to, prohibit teachers from using these social media outlets, then they need to provide them with something in return, to supplement that.
Well, one of the alternatives that someone suggested is, have a Facebook page and have questions posted on the wall. That way it's not a private communication and it's open. But again, the critic is you have a lot of students who are uncomfortable with exposing their questions in a public forum. I mean, if they know that, say, email communications between someone's work-related access or system is going to be monitored, they don't want administration, they don't want the public being able to know the type of questions that they have. So they're hoping to have a little bit more of a private one-on-one with their teacher that isn't going to be subject to public scrutiny. I mean, what do you think about that critic, or at least that point?
I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, if I have, something that I need to share with my teacher that is about school and is personal, I don't want the world knowing what I'm asking. I could be asking about a question, on a homework assignment that could be very simple to most students, but then again, very complicated for me. And it may be quite embarrassing if they see, the trouble that I'm having in a class that they may think is easy. And I'm speaking of my fellow students.
One of the sponsors of the bill, he stated that one of the reasons why he initiated this bill was because he wanted the state and individual school districts not to pass on a lot of teachers who have been accused of sexually abusive behavior. And, with that sense, it seems as if they're really trying to, not only prevents teachers who are sexually abusing students from being in the district, but they're also trying to circumvent and regulate communications. And I guess my question is, the online communication isn't the issue here, it's the teachers. Why aren't we focused on stricter background checks or more monitoring of just teachers and in their response and their interactions with students, even one-on-one outside of the online, instead of just focusing on what they're doing on these social media sites?
Well, I honestly agree with that. I just feel like, it's the user. It's not, the means of the communication. And like I said before, I feel like if they're trying to be real strong and bold on this attempt to prohibit teachers and students from communicating on a personal level through means of social media, then they have to supplement that with something else. And, if they're going to give them a telephone to where that telephone could be traceable and or monitored, then, to where students can call that line and get in touch with their teachers, that's fine. Other than that, like you said, they should do stricter background checks on these teachers and, just to find out exactly what's going on with these teachers, monitor the teacher more closely to see if they're able to handle the responsibility of teaching a student and the things that come with teaching a student.
Well, I'm a big advocate of social media sites because I do think they are great tools to market yourself, and they're great tools to really communicate with people that you may or may not be able to communicate otherwise. And one of the things that I think is important for the classroom and for teachers and administrators to do is to help students understand how to best use social media sites. And by hindering teachers from illustrating the use and the practical use of these sites with the students, it's a disservice to the students. And so at least when I view the statute, I see it as that possible hindrance on not only taking advantage of a tool that is constantly used by students, because students love Facebook, they love Twitter, they love these sites, and so they're more inept to use them versus using an school email or even calling on the phone. They would much rather go through Facebook, since they're already on it, and hit up a chat button if they see their teacher on there and chat with questions that they have. I mean, if you have a teacher who receives a chat, should they ignore it? Because if they do respond, they're in violation of the statute.
Well, obviously they're going to have to ignore it if that law is in effect. I just feel like social media is a way of life, and I mean, it changed the way we live, the way we think forever. I mean, this is it. This is the future. And I think a lot of people who are trying to change, or make these new laws up, they may be some people that are in fear of social media. They may not like the way this technology is taking over and captivating our culture and our world. And, maybe they don't use it as much because they're not accustomed to it or they're afraid. I mean, you have a lot of people out there that are intimidated by new technology. So you have to ask yourself, like, who are these people who are really in favor of putting this law in place?
Well, JR, thanks for your feedback. And listeners, I want to know what you think. Do you think that the Michigan statute should stand and teachers should be forbidden from using social media sites and other type of website communications that are private, from using those communications to talk to students? Tweet me at Regina_Sun and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening, and that is today's Legal Moment.